Right, guys, welcome to another demonstration. Today is going to be a conceptual photo day where you have to photograph an idea, a concept, right? So here we go. Let's just get a good color here. Your learning goal for the day: learn to identify and apply elements of aesthetics. So what kind of aesthetics, what are we going to apply those in photography, and the elements and principles of design. Specifically, when you are photographing water droplets. All right, so that is the goal today. We're going to learn to photograph water droplets. All right. Success criteria: student can independently, which, for the most part, guys, you're all at home by yourself. So, of course, it's independent work today. Very good. Complete a set of photos that demonstrates their level of mastery. I want to know how well you're mastering this content of composition and photo subject development through a 5-photo series of water droplets. Okay, you're going to turn in 5 photos to me. You're going to take a lot more than 5 photos, but you're going to turn in 5 finished photos to me. Okay, so some to-dos, things that we have to accomplish during this process. You're going to study and make observations of water droplet photos. So that means you're going to do some research for your first section of asynchronous time. You're going to do some photo research. What are 5 aesthetic elements you see? What are 5 unpleasant elements you see? So an aesthetic element here, if we notice down here in this picture, as an aesthetic element would be a balance of warm colors. Okay, we have green over here, yellow over here. Okay. Another aesthetic element that I notice is that we are using complementary colors. So the complementary color to purple is in fact yellow. So we're using complementary colors. Let's see here. Another aesthetic element I notice is that we have a narrow depth of field in the background, while the foreground, the stem, is nice and in focus. Okay. Another aesthetic element I notice is that we have very few hot highlights. Hot highlights are white. Anything that's bright white. You don't want too many hot highlights. You want some highlights, but you want mild highlights in photography. Hot highlights that are white are unpleasant. So I would say that is a good aesthetic because they don't have that. An unpleasant aesthetic for me would be that we just have so much green. I would like to see maybe some touches of red to help that green pop a little bit more in the stem, or specifically right here. It is very green, including the stem, and it's tough to see the stem pop out from a green background. Okay. Next, identify droplets found naturally versus setup droplets. So what I want you to do when you're doing your research, identify, is this a setup water droplet or is it a found water droplet? Okay. Next technique, you need to develop a method to produce droplets to photograph. Okay, so what method will you use to produce droplets? You could use a squirt bottle. You can take a water bottle and poke a hole in the lid. You can put water in your mouth and spit it on stuff. You can flick it with your fingers. What method will you use to produce water droplets? Unless it rains this morning. If it rained outside or you got up early and there's dew everywhere, great, but highly unlikely. It's been hot and miserable. Lastly, what photography elements are present in the photos? So identify 5 photography elements that are present in the photos that you have seen. Okay? So in your research, you're going to find, what did they do with the camera? What's the focus? What is the graininess element? Is there digital noise? What are the colors that are present? Is there a shutter speed idea? Is there movement? Is it paused? Is water dripping down a surface? Okay, make observations of camera usage in the photos that you're looking at. Okay, and that'll be more clearly spelled out in the handout. All right, Mr. Riggins, what am I doing today? How are you going to grade me? Here we go. We're going to use purple pencil for this. Learn to identify and apply elements of aesthetics in photography and the elements of principles of design. So you already know that. It's located on the handout. Here we go. You need to shoot 50 photos, 50 photos. You need to shoot 50 photos, all right? You need 5 different locations, okay? 5 different locations right here. P Advanced if the photos do not look like they're at RHS. Now here's the deal. That should be really, really easy because you're not here. You're at home. So it should definitely not look like it's RHS. So that should be an easy A for you right there. Must have a plan and a photo proposal to explain what you hope to capture. So what I want you guys to do is just write down in our Jamboard or in an email or in the chat right over there, what do you plan to take photos of? I just want you to think a little bit before you go out and take pictures. Just ponder, what could you take photos of? The photo research you're going to do in your independent time is going to help you come up with that idea. Okay? And that'll be part of your check-in, by the way. A couple things to keep in mind. Creative composition. Get creative with your camera angles. Don't get too low, don't get too high. Try to find the right angle. You should get the camera in there. It should work with the elements or the subject or the content of your photo. Don't just turn the camera sideways for the sake of doing that, but let it work with your subjects in the image. Engaging imagery. If you just spray water droplets on the table, that's not very engaging imagery. So find imagery, objects, things that you can photograph water droplets on that is exciting to look at and engaging. Get creative here, guys. Let's see here. Advanced. Story, concept, or emotion is present. I'm not going to tell you how to create story with water droplets. That is me seeing if you can come up with a plan. How can you create a story? Where would you see water droplets that tell a story? Okay? Hint. Tears. I don't know. Hint. Advanced. Action is captured. Can you capture water droplets hitting or splashing or moving? That's hard to do with a cell phone, so good luck. There are three, excuse me. There are 3 rules of composition present. Okay, you remember the rules of composition? It's advanced if there are 4 present. Correct exposure for the shots. If not, it's unsatisfactory, right? You need to have correct exposure. That's the rules. Plus, you're using the cell phone, so it should do it for you. Let's see here. Use of narrow depth of field. If you have narrow depth of field, if you're able to make the background blurry, that's proficient plus or advanced. Post-production. What? Post-production? What does that mean, Mr. Riggins? Post-production is things you're going to do to the photos after you have photographed. So this is the first time we've done this on purpose in this class. Focus, or just editing on your camera app, or Snapseed. Those are great editing software. There's probably other editing software you have on your phone that you can use. I want you to play with editing these. Instagram filters help, but they're way overdone. So, post-production. Anything you do to your photo after you have photographed it. Should be clean. Should help clean up your photo. It's proficient. If it helps create advanced photo elements or is used to as a creative tool to develop a new aesthetic element, then you're going to get an A. Develop emphasis using any post-production tools or editing tools. New light elements, graphic or design elements. Focus will help you actually add new light into the piece, so it's kind of a cool deal. Could be tricky if you're photographing on flat surfaces though, so just so you know. All right, so there you go, guys. On to the demo. All right, guys, welcome to our second conceptual photo shoot. We're back in the studio today. It is the same day as yesterday. I'm wearing the same clothes. So I'm doing 2 demos in one day, right? So it'll be all right. But we're gonna be doing water drop photography. This gets tricky because you're gonna have water next to electronics, your camera. So don't get your camera wet. Use caution whenever you're making water drops next to cameras. In this case, it's your phone. So if you get it wet, it's your phone that gets broken. But if you are watching this and you are using a regular camera, do be careful not to get your camera wet. So what you're going to need a few still life objects, and you're going to need a water source. Over here, here's what we've got. Now, a clear glass full of ice water would be perfect for this, or other objects you want to have water droplets on, flowers, things like that. I've got a water bottle, and I've got some more of those little rocks. I've got a black backdrop. It's just a mouse pad because, work with what you got. And for water, I've got a little tiny spray bottle. An option would be you could dip your hands in water and flick it on, things like that. You could drink water and go all over your stuff. That's gross. Hopefully you don't spread COVID, but I'm here by myself, So if I wanted to just drink water and go and spray water on my artwork, I could do that because there's no one here. Don't touch it, I spit on it. But I'm gonna use a little spray bottle instead, all right? So I'm gonna get the camera all set up. I'm gonna show you how to do this photo shoot. Stay with me. All right, guys, here we go. So here's how we're going to photograph these. First thing, let's get them wet. So I filled this up with water already. Hopefully it doesn't fall over. I've got my studio light there. Good luck seeing it. It's bright. I've got my backdrop right there. Here we go. Now, a few little mists of water are going to make water droplets, but they might not be as big as you'd like. So I'm going to really load this up here and see what kind of water droplets I can get. So now I'm going to take my phone. Always clean off the back of your screen or back of your lens. Okay, now that light is kind of a pain in the neck. So it's casting a shadow, and I don't want that shadow. Now another option is I might go over there and photograph on the window. Let's go see if we can get any good photos of water droplets on the window. Now my light source is over there, but that's okay. So here we go. Custodial staff's gonna be mad. All right, there. Whoa, too close. There's all my water droplets. Get my phone. Ready to rock and roll? Oh, got some good stuff on that one. All right, let me show you on the screen here.
This is a tasty burger. Burger.
All right, guys, now it is your turn. Head to the asynchronous time, also known as individual time, and I want you to take your best shot, no camera pun intended, at getting water droplet photos. The first thing I'm gonna have you do is you're gonna spend some time, as specified in the handout that you got at the beginning of class, I want you to spend some time looking at water droplet photography. And I want you to make observations of those photographies, or those photos. Look at the handout, it'll tell you how I want you to turn in those observations and what observations I want you to make. After that's done, I want you to go out and start taking photos. You're gonna do a 25-minute photo burst and then check in. You're gonna go out and take 25 photos. And then you're gonna do 25 more photos at your next check-in. And then your last chunk of independent work, you guys are going to spend some time trying to edit or enhance your photos using editing software or post-production software on your phone. Okay? So good luck. I will see you at the end of this assignment.